The Fortune Cookie Kid. Chapter 3. Everything Becomes Weird. I sat nervously in my chair in third-hour math, waiting for the desks in the room to fill. Thomas was busy making sure the system was working. He gave me only one earpiece so I could hear the teacher.
Did you hear that?
Thomas asked me for the 10th time. I rolled my eyes. Yes, I hear the music. It's working fine, but the volume is too loud.
I set it to duplicate the same megahertz as the bell, or it might not work.
I'm glad your parents made up, I said, fidgeting with my math book. I hope this works. Sabrina walked into the class and looked at Thomas. He gave her a thumbs up as she sat in her seat on the first row. Miss Peach started writing an equation on the board for extra credit. On the upper right of it was our assignment for the day. She turned to face the class.
The fire alarm for this room is broken.
She pointed to the corner of the room just behind the door. The alarm was hanging from the wall by a couple of wires and looked as if someone had taken a hammer to it. Miss Peach continued.
Don't be surprised if you see men come into the room to fix it. They assured me they would be done by Friday.
She grabbed a tissue from her desk and placed something in her drawer. When she looked up, I could see her eyes were puffy, as if she had been crying. I expected my brain to zone out any minute and that I would hear the bell ring in my ear. But nothing happened. Is this what usually happens? I questioned Thomas.
No, everyone is still in their right mind.
What's with the teacher? Did somebody die? Or does she always spend the class blowing her nose and wiping her eyes?
I don't know.
Thomas shrugged his shoulders, opened his book, and began to work on the assignment. I tried to do the extra credit problem. 3 girls were working on it in front of me, so I eavesdropped on their conversation until Thomas tapped my shoulder.
They got it wrong.
What? I have 2 pages full of scribbles already trying to figure it out.
That is an integral, and we haven't covered them yet. You won't be able to figure that equation out until you do the assignment in the book.
He held up his book so I could read the heading of the assignment.
See?
I laid my head down on my book for the rest of the class, and remained in my right mind the entire time. When the bell rang, our teacher was still wiping her eyes and sniffling. Some of the girls stopped at her desk.
Miss Peach, are you all right?
I heard one of them ask as we walked out the door. Our teacher burst out sobbing. Thomas and I looked at each other wide-eyed. Weird, I mouthed.
Very.
The day got gradually weirder. At lunch, Thomas sat across from me in our usual spot. A table no one ever sat at because it was the furthest away from the food. So what if I don't get hypnotized again? How will we find out who did it? Thomas raised an eyebrow.
If we figure out the trigger, we could ask you what happened that day before Sabrina and I came to class.
What if I can't remember even when I'm under hypnosis? Thomas smiled at something or someone behind me. I was about to ask him what he was looking at when the mousy girl sat beside me.
Hi, Thomas. Thanks for inviting me to eat lunch with you.
She looked away from my shocked expression. I turned my head to look at my best friend and was about to say something about his invitation, but I decided it would be a great conversation the next time he wanted a fortune cookie. It would be a reciprocal exchange.
Did you finish the math assignment?
She asked both of us.
It was a piece of cake. How about you?
I even got the problem on the board finished.
She glanced at me and looked down at her food. Her bangs cascaded into her face like a curtain closing.
Good for you.
Thomas narrowed his eyes. What's wrong? I looked around the cafeteria.
Scott and the rest of the basketball team are making their way to our table.
We are going to have to get a bigger table, I whispered as Chester and the rest of the physically challenged gang sat across from me. A couple of the basketball players pulled another table to ours. It screamed loudly against the floor. A clear expression of how I felt.
I need a cookie.
Why do you think it will have a map of how to navigate a crowd in it? I didn't bother to whisper. Mouse looked like she would like to crawl under the table, but she just hid behind her hair and ate her lunch, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible, while a tall blonde-haired kid sat right next to her. He made her look even smaller. To give her some comfort, I wanted to offer her to trade me places, but before I could, Chelsea sauntered up with several of her friends. Thank goodness both tables were full. She looked at me with her food tray and tapped her foot.
Well, don't just sit there. Us ladies need a place to sit too.
She batted her long eyelashes at several basketball players. But it was Chester and my physically challenged gang who immediately got up and moved to another table. Chelsea sat beside Thomas. Becoming a basketball team member had elevated my friend into the popular crowd. I worried for me and Mouse. My eyes flickered over to the table where the basketball team usually sat. It was now occupied by Chester and the other guys. I moved to stand. Thomas took hold of my backpack and stopped me.
Please don't leave.
What? Do you need a cookie before I leave? The words came out a little harsh. In a way, I felt betrayed. He was popular now, and it was just a matter of time before he would treat me just like the rest of the jocks, even though I knew it wasn't true. Nobody knew Thomas better than me. Maybe they liked him because he didn't care to play their social games. I looked apologetically at my friend. Sorry. I pulled my backpack up to my lap and pulled a cookie from it. The table was full of chatter and laughter, none of them really paying any attention to me.
Oh, I love those. Could I have one too?
Her friends giggled as they whispered, and looked at Mouse sitting across from them. I closed my eyes as anger roiled up inside of me. Chester's table was looking more and more inviting. Without moving my head, I glanced at the clock on the wall and pulled another cookie from my pack. I gave both of them to Thomas. Chelsea tilted her chin towards me.
So is Thomas available for the ball?
I glanced at my friend before I answered. Yes, he is. She kissed Thomas on the cheek. He smiled broadly until she said,
We are going to have so much fun picking out clothes together. You want our outfits to match, don't you?
Without an answer, he pulled his cookie out of the cellophane and cracked it open. She watched him curiously as he pulled the fortune out and cupped his hands around it to read without anyone else seeing it.
Does anyone here have an egg?
I have a couple. Do you need them all or just one?
Josh offered from the basketball team. Everyone started ribbing him.
Shut up, you all know that I'm on a high-protein diet.
Just one, thanks.
Josh tossed it into the air at my friend. If it would have been me, I would have ducked because somehow I would have missed, and it would have splattered all over me or bounced off me and into the lap of one of Chelsea's friends, who I was growing more and more irritated with. Thomas caught the hard-boiled egg with one hand because the other held the cookie. He rolled the egg on the table while he chewed the cookie.
So what does your fortune say?
Chelsea stared at his hand. I knew Thomas wouldn't answer her until he swallowed. My mind spun around how he was going to get out of shopping with Chelsea, but somehow the cookie had supplied him with the answer that I was sure of. He crumpled the fortune up and pulled his wallet out of his backpack. What is he going to do, I wondered, and looked at Mouse. She was focused on the girls sitting across from her. The food on her tray was barely touched. Thomas pulled a business card from his wallet.
Here, call my mother. She will be all too happy to go shopping with you. I will wear whatever she picks. How's that for a compromise?
Chelsea took the card and grinned from ear to ear.
You want me to go shopping with your mother? I can't believe this. We haven't even had our first date yet, and you're introducing me to your parents.
She sounded honored. Her friends snickered loudly after whispering something. It caught Chelsea's attention. Her eyes fell upon the mouse sitting beside me. Sabrina appeared to be fiddling with her shirt where a button was missing.
What's your name?
Chelsea asked, tapping on Mouse's tray. Her friends stopped laughing, their noses stuck in the air as if they were better than Sabrina. They both had ugly sneers on their faces. Stuck-up snobs, I thought.
Sabrina.
I could see her look at Chelsea through her bangs like she did me the first time we met. Had I been that rude to her?
Did you ask anyone to the Cinderella ball yet?
Chelsea sounded sincere, not even an air of conceit in her voice.
No, I'm not going.
What was that? I couldn't hear you.
I could feel Sabrina shaking beside me.
I'm not going to the ball.
Really, why not?
Leave it alone, Chelsea, I snapped.
Why should I?
Can't you see you're making her nervous?
I just asked a simple question. Look around you, Sabrina.
Chelsea gestured to the basketball players at the table. Her snobby friends looked shocked at her. She asked me, I blurted out and took hold of Mouse's hand. Sabrina smoothed her bangs back behind her ears and looked at me with those gem-like eyes. The only description of her expression that comes to mind is stunned. Then she smiled with shy appreciation, and I couldn't help but grin broadly back. I glanced at Thomas, who looked just as surprised as Mouse.
So you two are a couple.
I could see Chelsea's mind working as she ate her fries. Please leave it alone, I begged in my mind. It seemed to work for about 5 minutes. Chelsea tapped the business card Thomas had given her on the table.
Well, I guess you'll have to come shopping with us.
Sabrina's head snapped up to look at Chelsea, her bangs back out of her face.
I can't.
Sabrina said loud enough the whole table could hear her answer if they were paying attention.
Don't be silly. You're going with my date's best friend, I insist. Besides, it will be fun making our boys try on suits.
Chelsea smiled as if she would really have a good time with Mouse.
I'll think about it.
Well, don't think too long. These boys will worm their way out of this if you do.
She laughed at the expression on Thomas's face. It had me laughing too, even though I was in this with him, and soon everyone at the table was laughing, even the mousy girl sitting beside me. It was a strange day indeed. This is the end of the chapter. Please like and subscribe.